Hi and welcome everyone. Fire Talk here. This is my epoch, and what we're going to be talking about is fear. Okay, so you might be saying, okay, what does fear have to do with homelessness? Well, a lot of people are afraid of being homeless, and when you operate from a place of fear, you tend to make the wrong decisions. You tend to have erratic behavior, and a lot of different things like that. So, what we're going to be talking about today is not only the health implications psychologically, physically, emotionally, and the tolls in which it takes, kind of what the symptoms are, what the long term effects of this stuff is. And then we're going to talk a little bit about solutions because what's the point in talking about a problem if you can't offer a solution? And dealing with PTSD it is one of those fear-based emotional health issues. Okay, and so I've actually had a lot of experience in dealing with not only with stress, because when you start off with fear fear leads to stress. Okay, because you're afraid of something, now you're stressed out. Okay, stress and fear are one and the same, just a little bit of a derivative of the other. And so now you're stressed out. You're stressed out because you don't make enough money. You're stressed out because you can't afford this, or because you can't get this, or because you can't do this, or because you don't have this. Okay. And all of a sudden that starts mounting up. And this happens to everybody in everyday society because uh, homelessness is just an exaggeration of the fear that we get to face in society. Because when you're out here, you're afraid of getting robbed. You're out here, you're afraid of somebody stealing, or not stealing from you, but you're worried about people that are going to do harm to you, that are going to take advantage of you, that are going to exploit you. You're worried that you won't be able to get off the streets. Okay, so that's just another level of fear, but it is heightened fear. And our society is based off of fear. This is how we get our consumer based society to be able to operate and be able to run. Because if you're not afraid that one day you'll get in an accident, why would you ever worry about getting car insurance? If you're not worried that one day the grid is going to go down, you wouldn't go out and get solar panels. Okay, now some of this fear, it is healthy, it is part of what has allowed us to evolve and survive over thousands of years, but some of this fear is so irrational, so pushed on us in so many different ways that we don't even realize it, we don't even notice it. Okay, so just to kind of give you a correlation for those of you that have been around for a while, if you remember my demeanor when I was out on trail versus my demeanor being in the city. Now that I'm in a city, I've got a lot of people surrounding me. There's a lot more stress. My stress levels are going up. A lot of negative things are happening because of the stress, versus being out in the wilderness and being able to have all that peace. But I wouldn't know that I'm under a lot of stress until I have experienced peace. And so many of us, because from the day we turned 18 until the day that we pass away or retire, we're always going to have worries. And sometimes some of us have more worries than others. Okay. And this is going to have adverse health effects. One, it's going to raise your blood pressure. Two, it's going to wear your heart down quicker. Three, it is going to cause an imbalance in your brain chemistry. You're going to be starting to make irrational decisions. You are operating with adrenaline within your system, because when you're afraid, that is adrenaline is the body's reaction to the fight or flight. And so if you're stressed out and afraid of things that are going to happen, well, then that means that you've got a little bit of adrenaline that is running through you. And so the more you're stressed out, the more adrenaline that you have, the shorter you get in your responses, and you start snapping at people. Okay, this is why people don't understand what's going on with me and Sam, and is because of the heightened adrenaline that I have that goes through my system. When I get stressed out, it kind of escalates really quick. And so therefore, I get short. I don't have the patience. And again, I start having trouble keeping my composure, because the more your brain chemistry goes off, the longer you're under stress. It could lead to temporary audio hallucinations. It can lead to the destruction of your brain and your brain cells, because although your body has the fight or flight, and we look at it, but it also comes with a price. And that price is, it's like redlining a Ferrari. Your engine is going to go down quicker because you are burning up that engine so much quicker. Okay, this the other side effects. So that when you come down, you got to deal with depression. You've got to deal with heightened anxiety. And these are just some of the health effects. There is a litany. There are like 12 to 15, and as many as like 25 different adverse health effects that stress and fear do to our body, that causes us to age abnormally. So if you are looking older for your age, chances are you've lived a very stressful life, or you live a life of fear. Just because you live a life of fear does not mean that you live a stressful life, because a lot of the mental health disorders that are out there, whether it be depression, is fear-based, anxiety is fear-based, hypertension is fear-based. A lot of this stuff is fear-based, and so therefore you may live a life dealing with fear. And when you're dealing with a life living with fear, what you're doing is you are causing your body to break down. You are uh, indirectly and directly being destructive. Because the thing is, once you start realizing the types of issues that you're having and what the long term consequences of it are, because it was probably about 10 years ago that I learned this. And this was something that I looked at and I went, okay, because, for example, with when I have the adrenaline rush and I get to a point where I'm in a blackout, my blood pressure goes to 3 something over 2 something. I think it was like 326 over like 284 or something like that was what I looked at. And according to the nurse, my heart could explode. And I still get a little bit of chest pains because of the just the amount of stress that I put on my heart from all the adrenaline that's gone through my system, from all the anxiety that I've had to deal with, which is a prequel to my adrenaline rush, and then dealing with the different things that I've had to deal with in my life, and the heightened anxiety and stresses that it brings. All of that, I realized that it was taking such a huge toll on me and my life, that I wouldn't live to be 50 or 60 years old. I would die an early death. Didn't matter whether I lived on or off the streets. It was stress that was actually doing most of the work and causing me an early expiration date. Okay, so what did I do to kind of help me get to that point where I can function? Because right now, with the stress that I'm going through, especially with all the stuff surrounding Sam, and I'm still having to deal with it, just not as much. But dealing with all that stuff, if I hadn't have gotten on top of and put myself in a position to get in control of the fear, not necessarily in control, but to embrace it, accept it, and know how to accommodate it. Because control is perceived. There is no real such thing as control. You have no control. You are bound by the immutable laws of the universe, and we don't know them all, so therefore you cannot have complete control. However, you do have the ability to influence. And when I came to that conclusion, one of the things that I realized was I needed to start meditating. Okay, I had come across a couple of guys that were Hindus, and so I got to learn about Hinduism. I got to learn about the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now I can't roll my R's as good because I'm a white American, but that chant out there, even just in that brief one cycle of the chant that I did, the harmonic resonance, I don't know whether I'm training my body to do this or whether this is natural, but the harmonic resonance is to a point where it kind of acts as a tuning fork, and in those brief moments I get to feel peace. Now, the only other time that I ever felt peace in my life before I started doing this was I went to the emergency room way back when, the first time I was homeless, because I was having what I thought was a panic attack, or I was told it was a panic attack. And so I kept telling the doctor, you know what, my blood pressure's up, anxiety, just doing deductive reasoning, I convinced the doctor to give me blood pressure pills. And he gave me a 10-day supply. And for 10 days, I got to have the only peace, the only true peace that I've ever had in my life up until I started doing these mantras, because it gives you that same feeling. It's just for when your blood pressure goes down, that means that you are relaxed. That means that you are not anxious, which means that your body can start its repair process, which means that your body can be at rest. And so when you relieve that stress, you're going to feel something completely different. Now, I did that Hare Krishna mantra probably 4, 5, 6 times a day for probably a good 2, 3 months. Okay. I don't know exactly how long I did it, but I know I did it for a while. The other thing is I also got a deeper voice out of it because of doing the mantras and stuff like that. So I with higher amounts of stress, you're supposed to have a deeper voice, but for some reason that skipped me. I had an effeminate voice until about 10 years ago. Anyways, with that being said, doing the Hare Krishna mantra, that was a big game changer. Still works for me to this day when I have too much going on and I need to really rebalance myself and I got nowhere else to go. Finding a mantra. Find a mantra that works for you. Okay? What you're looking for is effect. It's not about faith. It's not about belief. It's not about religion. It's not about worship. It is about using the harmonic resonance, which is an immutable law of the universe, to your benefit to assist you with maintaining your health. The other thing I had to do was I had to start doing a change of lifestyle. A change of lifestyle was probably one of the biggest things that I had to make a change in. Um, I was I was an adrenaline junkie. I loved the rush. That's why I loved working at the airport. I loved the rush, the thrill, the rush. If I would have stuck at the airport for 20 years, because I mean I loved my job, I loved what I was doing, I would have spent 20 years there. I didn't care how much they paid me. I liked what I was doing. Okay, and I would have probably I probably would have done a lot of different things within that. But I loved the thrill, and I probably would have gone rock climbing. I probably would have done like bungee cords and skydiving and things like that, because when you work out there at the airport, that's complete adrenaline. I mean, you love the adrenaline. I mean, it's because you're trying to move. You're flipping 2, 3 planes in 45 minutes, which is just like it's a minor miracle the way that you could do that. So to go from that lifestyle, the lifestyle that I liked, I enjoyed, and I had always been part of who I was. I've always been an adrenaline junkie. I just didn't realize it until I had to start doing some self-reflecting, which was part of what I did to change my lifestyle. Was I had to do a lot of self-reflecting, cause, effect, what's working, what's not working, how do I change here? Let's move here. Let's do this. Do things like that. You're going to have to do that for a lot of years until you find the perfect formula. Okay. But taking things out of my life, such as stressors, I don't spend too long on my phone. I spend a lot of time on my phone now because I'm dealing with YouTube, but I'm learning to, instead of just like, oh, well, I need to completely put down the phone and then kind of hurt myself, is when I have my personal time, I sit back, I watch comedy. I found a guy, his name's AJ Wilkerson. He is an autistic comedian, funny as hell. Okay, I sit and watch him at night, and that allows me to de-stress. It allows me to smile, allows me to be happy. So that is a lifestyle change that I've recently made. But up until then, I always put my phone down because phones cause stress. Things cause stress. Life causes stress. The information you watch is causing stress. That's why I try and keep it peaceful, positive, and happy. It may be the end of the world because you're out on the streets, but you are your reality. And if you put out a positive reality, you will get a positive in return, as much as you can for this lifestyle. Okay, so not only did I do mantras and meditation, but I did a lifestyle change. And again, the other thing that really really worked for me was putting together uh, time for myself to do self-reflecting. Um, Part of my day, part of my daily routine, especially like if I was housed up, part of my daily routine is I would wake up in the morning and have my cup of coffee, take care of Sam, sit back for about an hour or two. And this is what I do out. So like in the mornings, I take Sam to the park for at least an hour, and I let her be to herself, because that's what time I go into myself. I go into my head. I find out how I feel, how I think, what things are working, what problems am I having, what solutions do I have to my problems, what changes do I need to make. Are they going to be for the positive, or are they going to be for the negative? Things that I've been pondering, and I ponder things for a while before I actually take an action. But this is something that you as an individual have the ability to do, to a point where it will make a positive effect. So how does this all play into homelessness? Homelessness, you're going to be afraid out here. If you can learn how to keep yourself on an even keel, do your mantras, change your lifestyle, find things that will offset the negativity, so that you have enough positivity in your life to where the negativity isn't your every moment reality. Okay, taking time to do the self-reflecting, you're gonna need to do those things, because without it, if I hadn't, all the turmoil I get around Sam, people coming up on me in the middle of my sleep, all kinds of weird things that happen out to me, dealing with predators, dealing with people that are out there to do harm to me, or to take advantage of me in some form or fashion. And you know what? It's getting worse, because I never really had to experience these things until now. And by now, I shouldn't be experiencing these things, because, for various reasons. And, it just, out here, you don't want to let the fear rule you. And if you let the fear rule you, then you're not going to do well. You are going to break down. You're going to, fall down, because the negative effects is just going to create mental health issues. Okay, so the stress of being homeless is going to cause you a mental health issue. Now, if you know how to balance yourself out, how to put yourself back in harmony, then you'll be fine. But if you don't, well, you know what? You're going to get eaten up by this beast, and that is why so many people come out of it worse than when they came into it. So you guys know how to help the channel. Share this video if you find a value in this content. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.